Let's go ahead and look at the following problem. The figure above is a parallelogram. Use the figure and the information given to solve each problem. Let's go ahead and go step by step and solve each of the different parts from A all the way to G. As we go through each step, go ahead and copy the problem, and then we're going to take down notes next to the problem that will help us to solve this problem. As we're going through each of the steps in this problem, remember that you can pause the video to give yourself plenty of time to copy down the problem and the notes. So please feel free to pause the video at any time. Let's go ahead and start with letter A. We have, if the measure of angle BCD is 123, find the measure of angle BAD. Going to our figure, here's our parallelogram, A, B, C, D. Let's enlarge that. We know that angle BCD is 123. Go ahead and label the 123. We're looking for angle BAD, which I labeled as letter X. Okay. Notice that the angles are opposite each other. We know that in a parallelogram, opposite angles are congruent. So here, notice the arrow. We have opposite angles in a parallelogram, and so their measures are equal. Congruent means that the angles have equal measures. So what we're going to do then, our answer, there's nothing to solve here. The answer is 123. Notice how they are equal. Opposite angles are congruent. Write down next to it the notes that apply to this problem. What property helped you solve this problem? In this case, we needed to remember that opposite angles are congruent, or if you want to use the word equal, their measures are equal. The measure of the two angles are equal. Okay, let's look at part B. If the measure of angle BAC is equal to 57, find the measure of angle ACD. Let's begin by looking at our parallelogram ABCD. And we notice that angle BAC, which is this little portion right here, is 57. Find the measure of ACD, which is the letter I labeled as with the letter X. Okay. According to our properties, we know that in a parallelogram, we have opposite sides are parallel. Okay, but how does that help us with this particular angles? If I have parallel lines, remember that parallel lines form several angles. And here in this notes, we label them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I label them just to explain that is not always their number. Remember, their number is not permanent. Number 1 in another problem, in another set of notes could be down in here, or this could be a 1, or this could be a 1, or this could be a 1. So for the purposes of these notes, I labeled the 1 followed by the 2, 3, 4, and so on. So what we're looking at is the position. Now, look at the 57. It is in between the parallel lines, which leaves us 3, 4, 5, and 6. And remember from our notes, well, let's go further. We have 3 and 6. So go ahead and include this in your notes. Remember that given parallel lines, alternate interior angles are congruent. In this case, angle 3 is congruent to angle 6 if we have parallel lines. Why do we have parallel lines? Because in a parallelogram, opposite sides are parallel. So the fact that they're parallel, then these two are equal. So our final answer is 57. Okay, let's go ahead and look at problem C. In this problem, we have the measure of angle BEA is 140. Find the measure of angle AED. Again, let's go ahead and draw our figure. Now, here's our parallelogram ABCD. Then we have the letter E. It does look a little unusual, but that is the letter E, which is the intersection of the two diagonals. Let's expand our picture here. We have BEA, which is on the left, 140 degrees. And on the right, we have angle AED, which I labeled with letter X. Okay, so let's review our properties to see which property will help us to solve this problem. What we have here are supplementary angles. In this case, my supplementary angles are adjacent. One is on the left, one is on the right. Notice how they form a straight line. And we know that adjacent supplementary angles are two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. So this angle 140 plus x is equal to 180. In order to solve for x, we're simply going to subtract 180 minus 140, which is 40. So we know that 140 plus 40 is 180. So these two angles are supplementary. Go ahead and include that term in your notes. Letter D. If the measure of angle ABC is 60, find the measure of angle BCD. Again, here's our parallelogram, ABCD. Let's go ahead and expand it and fill in the information we know. We know that angle ABC is 60, and the measure of angle BCD, remember the middle letter is the vertex right here, BCD, which I labeled as X. Okay. Another thing I did here is I tried to draw a curve, a single curve here on angle B, and here I did a double curve for letter C because these two angles are not equal. So if they were equal to each other, they both would have a single curve or they both would have a double curve. But because I know already that these are not equal, that's why I put a single curve and a double curve. Okay, so again, let's review the property that would help us solve this problem. In a parallelogram, consecutive angles are supplementary. In other words, angle B and angle C add up to 180. They are supplement. Consecutive means in a row or next to each other. Now remember, opposite angles are equal. B is equal to angle D. Consecutive in a row, notice they're both on the left, those are supplementary. So the sum of both of those angles is 180. So in order to solve for x, we're going to subtract 180 minus 60, which is 120 degrees, because 120 plus 60 is equal to 180. Letter E. If AB is equal to 5x minus 3 and CD is equal to 2x plus 9, find the measure of AB, or find the length of AB. So in this particular problem, we're referring to the side AB and CD. Let's go ahead and redraw our figure with the information we know. The length from A to B is 5x minus 3, and the length from C to D is 2x plus 9. Okay, let's look through our notes and find the property that helps us to solve this problem. We know that in a parallelogram, opposite sides are equal. So what I'm going to do, because I have an x here, I'm going to set up an equation in which one of the line segments is equal to the other one. Okay, now, in order to make this problem easier to solve, I'm going to choose the higher x to be on the left. So this one is a 5x. This is 2x. So I'm going to put 5x on the left. It really doesn't matter. You're going to end up with the same answer, but because I already know in advance, I'm thinking as a teacher here, in advance, I know that the x should be on the left. That makes it easier for our students. So I want the 5x minus 3 on the left and the 2x plus 9 on the right. And notice how they are equal to each other. Now, the first thing we have to cancel we look at the x's first. So the smaller x is 2x, so the opposite is negative 2x. That leaves me 3x minus 3 equals to 9. Then I need to get rid of the minus 3 or the negative 3, so that becomes positive 3 on both sides. So 3x is equal to 12. Divide both sides by 3, x is equal to 4. Now, in some problems, they're going to ask you, solve for x. In this particular problem, they want me to find the measure of AB. So we're not finished, and x is not my answer. We need x in order to find the length AB. Now, AB is 5x minus 3. Everywhere there's an x, I'm going to substitute 4. So 5 times 4 is 20, minus 3 is 17. So my final answer is 17. In this particular problem, solving for x is not my final answer. I get the x and substitute it in order to find the length of AB. Letter F. The measure of angle DAB is 2x minus 10. The measure of angle ADC is 3x. Find the measure of angle DAB. Again, we're given our parallelogram ABCD. Let's go ahead and draw our figure again and labeling the information that we have. We know that DAB. Notice how they start with the letter D. What matters is the center, the letter in the middle, A. That is your vertex right here. DAB is 2x minus 10. And AD, notice the letter D, C is 3x. Find the measure of angle DAB. Okay, so let's go through our notes. In a parallelogram, consecutive angles are supplementary, so we know that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle D is equal to 180. We need to set up an equation in order to solve for x. The order doesn't matter. Now, if you notice here, I chose to put parentheses simply to separate, to show you here's one of the lengths, or one of the angles, 3x, plus the other parenthesis, 2x minus 10. I do not need the parentheses. They are there simply to show you it's one of them plus the other one. Ignore the parentheses, and we have 5x minus 10 is equal to 180. Cancel the 10s, and we have 5x equals 190. Divided by 5 is 38. So x is equal to 38. I go back to the instructions and I notice that is not my answer. Find the measure of angle DAB. So we're going to have to use the letter x and substitute. We know that angle DAB is 2x minus 10. Everywhere there's an x, I'm going to put 38 minus 10. So 2 times 38 is 76. Minus 10 is 66. So the measure of angle DAB is 66. Letter G. If the measure of angle BAD is 3x minus 10, The measure of angle BCD is x plus 40. Find the measure of angle BAD. Here's our parallelogram, ABCD. Let's go ahead and draw the figure, filling in the information that we know. Okay. We know that angle A, or BAD, remember the letter A is in the center, is 3x minus 10. And angle, let's see, where's it? BCD, the letter C is in the center, is x plus 40. We're going to have to solve for x and then go back and find the measure of angle BAD. Let's look at our properties. We know that in a parallelogram, opposite angles are congruent. Opposite angles are congruent. I'm going to have to set up an equation in order to solve for x. Now here, I choose to put the larger x on the left and the smaller x on the right side of the equal sign. I have the left side is equal to the right side. Okay. Cancel our x. We're left with 2x minus 10 is equal to 40. Cancel the 10. We're left with 2x is equal to 50. Divide both sides by 2 and we get x is equal to 25. That's not my final answer. We'll have to go back and substitute. If x is equal to 25, 3x minus 10, 3 times 25 is 75, minus 10 is 65. So our final answer, the measure of angle BAD, is 65.